This is communist propaganda and boycott CBS. This isn't Star Trek. Hello my fellow explorers, Final Frontier here. Welcome to the very first episode of The Week in Sci-Fi, where we take a quick look at the top stories in the world of science fiction, and yes, that does include science fantasy, and yes, that is a thing. So if you're a fan of the Marvel movies and of superheroes in general, then this is the place to be. Now this is obviously a weekly series, so make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell, because if you don't click that bell, you will not get notified when the latest video goes up. So let's engage warp drive and let's take a look at the biggest news in the world of science fiction.
Can you imagine what it's like to be an ace?
So we have our first look at an animated series set in a galaxy far, far away, set in the years before the events of The Force Awakens, and we'll take a look at the fighter pilots of General Organa's Resistance. Yes, the first trailer for Star Wars Resistance is here, and I am loving the animation style. It really gives me an 80s feel to it. And we don't have too much longer to wait, because it's only 2 more months before Resistance takes flight on the 7th of October. And let us know what you think. It's official, The Watchmen is coming to HBO in 2019. Previously, this Damon Lindelof show only was promised a pilot, but now HBO has its first superhero series. If you're a fan of the graphic novels, you may be a little bit disappointed to hear that it won't follow the comics religiously. Nope, according to the press release, Watchmen embraces the nostalgia of the original groundbreaking graphic novel while attempting to break new ground of its own. How do you feel about that?
You might wanna buckle up, baby.
And in our next piece of news, after the disappointing box office of the Han Solo spin-off, remember the rumours of Disney deciding to halt a lot of the spin-off movies that they had in the works? Well, Neil Lamont, a designer who has previously worked on films such as The Force Awakens and also Rogue One, mentioned that production had stopped on a Star Wars spin-off he was working on. And this spin-off happened to take a look at Luke Skywalker's home planet, yes, Tatooine. Now remember that rumour of a Mos Eisley Star Wars spin-off film? Perhaps that rumour wasn't so far-fetched after all. So are you a little bit disappointed to hear that this spin-off movie isn't in the works anymore? Out of all the spin-offs, let's say, what do we have?
One eternity later.
Let's see, what do we have? We have the Boba Fett movie, and we have a potential Obi-Wan movie rumoured. Out of all of them, if you could only have one, which one would you have? And we have some big Star Trek news. Yes, with Discovery set in the years prior to Kirk's 5-year mission and Burnham being Spock's adopted sister, Spock was obviously teased a lot in the 2nd season, but the search for Spock is over, and Ethan Peck will be filling those ears. Peck is apparently best known for his roles in 10 Things I Hate About You and the series I Ship It, and I haven't got a clue what either of them are. For me, the most interesting thing about Ethan Peck is probably his grandfather. Yes, that's Gregory Peck, the guy who was in To Kill a Mockingbird. So we've had Leonard Nimoy and we've had Zachary Quinto in the Star Trek reboots. And now we have Ethan Peck. Are you looking forward to seeing him? I'm actually really looking forward to seeing the Enterprise again. And no, he will not have the blinky lights. We've already had a little kind of sneak peek at some of the Enterprise, and it doesn't even look like, and it certainly doesn't look like, what we know and love from the TOS series. But you know what, for me, when I look back at the TOS, it's like when you have a VHS video and then you remaster it, and what we're seeing is the Enterprise remastered in 4K high definition. That's how I kind of justify the change in the feel and look of the series. It isn't that it's been reimagined so much as it's just been 4K-ified. I love how they looked at the relationship between Spock and Sarek. So if you go back to the journey to Babel and you see, you know, the frostiness of the relationship, it was given such new meaning by the relationship between Sarek and Burnham. And so I'm really intrigued to find out what the actual relationship between Spock and Burnham is. How do you feel about it? I know it's a touchy subject, but I'd really like to know your honest thoughts.
We come in peace.
And talking about Star Trek Discovery, we have makeup designer Glenn Hetrick talk about the Klingons. And yes, season 2 will see yet another new look for the Klingons. And it isn't that they're being reimagined again, but I think it's because we are going to see more of the houses, more of the Klingon houses. It will be interesting to see whether the hair makes a reappearance. Now, one thing to note, now if you look back at the casket on I think it was the opening series of Star Trek Discovery, if you see the casket, there is what very much looks like hair on the casket. Okay, so I don't think Klingons are hairless. What I think is these Klingons are ceremonially cutting off their hair in respect to Kailash. Kapla! Because Kailash apparently took a lock of his hair and created the first bat'leth by dipping it in a volcano, as you do. And so these Klingons, who basically they are worshipping Kailash, they cut off their hair to respect him. Now what we have is other houses, maybe not so reverent of Kailash, or maybe just different, having, you know, they're all the Klingon houses, they live on different planets and they have their own unique heritage and own unique history. So what I feel is that we actually might see, especially after the backlash, we are going to see the hair make a return to the Klingons, and all will be right in the world, and all the Star Trek fans will come back and say, oh, we were wrong, we forgive you. And interestingly, the word he used was that fans will freak out about the new look. And yes, I think they will freak out, but not for the reasons that you're thinking, Glenn. But I'm willing to give it a go. I didn't actually mind the Klingon look. I thought it was quite interesting, and but I do really want to see the hair come back, because it was such a part of their image, and there was really no rationale for taking it away and changing that. So that was the top news for the week. It's just a quick selection. I hope I didn't miss anything major out. If I did, let me know in the comments. So now I want you to join me in my ready room. Come over. Maybe order yourself an Earl Grey tea, because I'm going to talk about the biggest news in science fiction to hit us.
Jean-Luc Picard is back.
And so let's take a look at what we know. So the series is set 20 years following the events of Nemesis, and especially following the Dominion War. You can imagine that Starfleet was shaken to its core. You know, we had shapelings infiltrating all levels of society, everybody being scared and fearful of everybody else, everybody being scared of the other, everybody holding what they know, not wanting to let go, not wanting change to happen, even if change is probably for the better. That kind of reflects the world we live in today, I would think. What I feel that Star Trek does best, and that no other show can come close to, and that is to reflect today's world and its problems through the prism of science fiction. And yes, that means we're going to be seeing the world of Trump and Brexit through the lens of Star Trek. And I can already hear the fans outcry now, and they're all sharpening their pitchforks and lighting their torches, ready to march against the SJWs, and oh my goodness, this is leftist garbage, and you know, snowflakes are in charge of Star Trek now, and this is communist propaganda, and boycott CBS, this isn't Star Trek. And I would say to them that actually, you know what, this is Star Trek. And Star Trek is about inclusivity. It's about the other, and about seeing the world through the eyes of other races, and by doing so seeing the world through the eyes of other people in general. Now obviously Star Trek as a series will be very unique to the viewer. Now you take what you love of Star Trek and you probably leave the things that you don't like of Star Trek, and it reflects your own world viewpoint. But Star Trek has always, the heart of Star Trek has always been about respect for other people. And I think this new Picard series will be very much focused on respect for others, accepting others for who they are. Even if they are different to your own, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to believe in what others believe, but you should certainly accept it at the very least. You know, fire away in the comments, I'm sure you will. Well, I hope you will actually, if anybody's even watching this. But fire away in the comments what you want from the Picard series. And that's my thoughts on the matter, and there we have it for this week. But hailing frequencies are open. What was your favourite piece of news for the week, and what would you like to see in future episodes? Because your input is vital to this series. This show is nothing without you, because I want to tailor it to what you want to discuss and what you want to see. You're my fans, you guys, you're the reason I do this show. So for the long-term fans actually, there's an update on my channel coming up. For the rest of you, thank you for watching. Follow me on social media, especially on Instagram and on Facebook, because I post daily news updates. And so if you want to just keep in touch very quickly on the latest and the greatest in science fiction and science fantasy, then follow me and you can get a quick snapshot of all the latest and greatest news in the world of science fiction. Peace. Still here? Okay. This channel has been lacking a lot of content recently, and the reasons are numerous. The prime one being a lack of time. The videos take a long time to produce, and the research as well, and to do all the nitty-gritty of the editing. And I love my channel, I love science fiction, and I love sharing that joy with you guys. So this is my solution, and I don't know if it's a long-term solution, but it's a way for me to talk about what I love, just to wind down and put that on YouTube, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Now I know it's not what you've seen from my channel, and the one time I did do a video it probably got the lowest, it did get the lowest out of all my views. Now this is my first video, so I know it's really rough around the edges. Now if you think this was rough, you should have seen the number of outtakes I did before I actually put this one onto the editing screen. But I really need you two guys to be involved, because you know, without the feedback, I can't tailor this to what you guys want it to be. In my head I would love it to be really interactive. I'm just one guy with one outlook, you know, so please comment. Let me know what you think. I mean, one day maybe I will take this live if there is enough demand, because then at least you can comment as I'm talking and I can read the comments, and that'll be fantastic. I mean, I read every single comment and I will reply as and when. And what I hope to do is in the future episodes is take some of your comments and discuss them in the video for the following week. So I look forward to hearing about what you guys think of the video, and hearing you guys talk about, you know, your love as well as mine, science fiction. So join me on social media, comment away, and I hope to see you next week. Peace.